Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. Even though Bangladesh is still reeling from the after effects of its longest serving prime minister's forced departure, a constitution reform commission has actually submitted its report to the interim government chief Muhammad Yunus, proposing the removal of the state principles of secularism, socialism, and nationalism. Now, the commission, which was established by the Yunus administration after the removal of Sheikh Hasina as the prime minister following a mass student-led agitation, also suggested introducing a bicameral parliament for the country and limiting the prime minister's tenure to 2 terms. Now, the three principles are among the four enshrined as the fundamental principles of state policy in the country's constitution. And under the new proposals, only one, that is democracy, that bit remains unchanged. And what the commission chairman, Ali Riaz, has said in a video statement, and I'm just going to quote what he said that we are proposing 5 state principles: equality, human dignity, social justice, pluralism, and democracy for the reflection of the great ideals of 1971 liberation war and the people's aspiration during the 2024 mass upsurge. Now, the chief advisor's press office has released a statement quoting Riaz, who said that the commission had recommended forming a bicameral parliament with a lower house named the National Assembly and an upper house named the Senate, consisting of 105 to 400 seats. This is a proposal which has been submitted to the interim government, but what does it really mean for Bangladesh? We'll try and understand all of this. Joining me now is Director of the Rights and Risk Analysis Group, Suhas Chakma. Thank you so much, Suhas, for joining. And we have international affairs expert and veteran journalist Sanjay Kapoor with us. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining. And I'll begin with Suhas. Suhas, bringing in a constitutional reforms commission where they are talking about a bicameral parliament, they are talking about limiting the tenure of the prime minister, and only the democracy bit remains unchanged. Otherwise, the entire framework seems to be changing. Now, how does it really unfold for the people in Bangladesh? And what does it really mean politically?
If you speak about, politically, I don't think it has any meaning because this is a caretaker government and their absolute or limited mandate is to hold elections. Now, with that limited mandate, if you continue or if you start this kind of processes of reform, then the question will arise: reforms, for whom and from whose perspectives. So these reforms actually obviously have come from those who are in power at this point in time, those who are supporting the interim government. That's the Jamaat-e-Islami, and it is not necessarily the perspectives of the BNP and perspectives of the Awami League. I see these measures which Yunus had undertaken. These are essentially means to remain in power, prolong his stay in power, instead of holding the elections. Now, if you look at the statement of Ali Riaz, that what he wants to ensure, and if you look at the entire spectrum of amendments he suggested, if you take out the question of or issue of secularism, then where is the question of equality? How could you establish equality in a Muslim majority country for the religious minorities unless you ensure equal respect? Equality is not only something with respect to certain basic rights. Equality is also about your belief, equality of your own perception. So that the Hindus and the Muslims, Buddhists and the Muslims would be equal, it has to be reflected. So the moment you take that out, obviously, equality is no longer there. And I read the text in Bengali, and I can read Bengali. It's, you do not expect this kind of recommendations from a committee which is reforming the constitution. It's a child's work. You expect much more, things. So I would say at the end of the day, these reforms will have no meaning because unless they are ratified by the parliament, people who would be elected, then what's the meaning or value of this? And I think BNP has made it very clear that they don't want anything less than elections, and by July or August. And I think by February, if there are no concessions from Yunus, March onwards, possibly BNP will hold protests. So this all these reforms actually will go into the dustbin because they do not have the mandate. It's as simple as they do not have the mandate. He should have
Right.
organized the elections.
You do not have the mandate, it is in all likelihood it might just be consigned to the dustbin. Then why do you think have these reforms been brought up, or why is the interim government talking about it? Why have they submitted a proposal? If it is just a facade, they cannot fulfill the all what they have proposed, then why at all did they bring it?
See, the initial aim, which everybody expected, from Dr. Yunus, that being a Nobel laureate and he would show magnanimity and he will hold elections, etc. But once they came to power, they are carrying out what is called the minus two solution, where both Begum Jia and Hasina are no longer welcome. And that's what they want to ensure. And they are thinking of organizing a political party. The entire movement was for reform of the quota or rejection of the quota itself. Then once the government has overthrown, now they have become an authority themselves to dictate each and everything in what directions the country should go through. And now, if they want to have a declaration of the July movement, last time I think they wanted to bring about 15 to 20 lakhs people, and somehow they paid lots of people, and they managed to get about 15 to 20,000 people, and the whole thing has been lost. The momentum has been lost because the moment you enter into governance arena, which Nahid has done, then obviously you have to deliver as a minister. They are not able to deliver anything, and people would usually ask, "Why are you in power?" You need some kind of excuse,
Right.
and the only excuse they could give is that we need to reform. But reform to be done by whom? You want to bring everything through ordinance? You can't bring it through the ordinance because every 6 months, and you yourself are not sure when you want to hold elections. And they should be able to hold elections at any given point of time. Now, if there are two houses to be recommended, do you mean to say that you are going to hold elections for these two houses without ratification or without any amendment ratification by the parliament? Parliament doesn't exist. Your powers as an interim government doesn't exist. So it's a lawlessness, a group of people who got together, they are in power, and I think they have gone beyond their brief, and that's what I mean. The challenge is. My fear is, they will fail very badly because they are looking for exit routes, and there are no exit routes at this point of
No,
time because the country is in a mess.
right. I'll pick on the point which you said that they are needing, and they need an exit route right now. But I'm coming to that question, Sanjay, to you, that does the Yunus government want to make it visible, or they want to be seen as doing something? And is that the reason that they have nothing more to offer? They don't have too many solutions to the problems, and which is why are they trying to divert the attention by talking about this, or maybe trying to weave a narrative around this constitutional reforms commission? What is your assessment on this?
Thank you for inviting me to listen to the views of Mr. Chakma. I entirely agree with his point of view. I think Mr. Muhammad Yunus doesn't have honorable intentions about what he wants to do with Bangladesh. He wants to carry on, and he doesn't have the mandate. He has no business to be even suggesting reforms. Ideally, the fact that he has thrown out the earlier government in a coup, or he's heading one, he should have been the one who should be organizing an election. But he doesn't seem to have intentions of having election at the earliest. He wants to probably initiate the reform process. He wants to do far more than what is expected, and there's nothing happening on the ground, as has been rightly pointed out. I mean, there's people have been expecting, looking up to things changing, but things aren't changing at all. In fact, when Hasina was there, from the standpoint of economy, things were not so grim. It was moving faster. GDP were faster than India, for that matter. It had become a cause of great amount of heartburn for many Indians. That a country like Bangladesh is doing better. But having said that, there is a crisis which is brewing in Bangladesh. Uh, the chief advisor recognizes that by hammering Hasina or saying that she's stolen billions, things are not going to settle down very soon. So he's resorting to new tricks. Every time there is some issue that comes up in Bangladesh, he tries to break it up and try to show that there's far more that he can do. But I don't think he has many things going for him. His age is one of them, and he's got a bunch of young kids whom he surrounds and he presents whenever he goes. Even to the US, when he went there, he was masquerading them as if they are the ones who will probably provide solution to the problem. solutions to the problems are far deeper, far complicated, and that's not happening very anytime soon. The country is on the precipice of becoming an Islamic country, and that is where he's leading the country. That is why this desperation to remove secularism, to do remove socialism, something that had happened, that's happening in India also. There have been similar voices that were coming when the BJP government came to power, but mercifully it has not happened. But it could pretty much happen in Bangladesh, and you don't know how it will play out.
Right. But Suhas, I really want to know from you, the interim government, what you think they have in their mind. If the solutions are not in sight, and there was a lot of hope, which the people were banking on, and if the Yunus government has not uh, delivered on many fronts, and now they're talking about a constitutional reforms commission, which nobody knows whether they'll be able to deliver or not. And as you said, that it's a total facade. So what is going on in Yunus's mind? What is he actually wanting to do right now?
I think, I mean, people have, misperceptions about Yunus. Because he got the Nobel Prize, the entire Western world especially thought we have somebody who is a liberal. He is the liberal. Please understand, we did not know about his worldview. If you know about his worldview, you will be shocked. At the end of the day, he is like an EMI agent. He's a Sardar of the EMI agent, and that's the way Grameen Bank operated, with peer pressure so that they could extract money, interest from people. So he has not changed that perception, and he has little ideas about governance. So when he came in, and because he was a Nobel laureate, everybody in Bangladesh accepted, but he was not clear as to what he would do. So he got this bunch of people who never worked together, who never shared the ideology, and everybody is operating independently of his or her own. And you have a situation where the bureaucrats, the senior officials, are refusing to sign any files. So there's completely standstill as far as the bureaucracy is concerned. So he is basically playing out optics. So what he does is that, he only rakes up Hasina staying in India. It is as if, Tariq Jia is staying in Bangladesh, in UK for decades. Should be an issue, should not be an issue. It was not an issue, and Tariq Jia is still there, and Begum Jia is in London at this point of time. Should that be an issue? I think what they want is, they have something called the -2 solution, where BNP and the Awami League should be thrown out, and the only political party left is the Jamati Islami. But Jamati Islami had never had more than 8 to 6%, 6 to 8% of the popular votes. So 90% of the votes are with either Awami League or the BNP. So he has no popular support. Students have lost popular support, and that's what I say. He is looking for an exit strategy, and he doesn't know whether he wants to even hold the elections, because a section of the advisors know that they do not have any exit road. Hasina was lucky to catch the flight and come to India. That luxury will not be available to many advisors. Bangladesh is very violent when it comes to politics, and you see when the things overturn. Actually, many of the advisors, including some of my friends whom I know from the human rights circles, and serving as the caretaker government's advisor, they are in deep trouble. They will be in deep trouble. They have not read the situation, and now they have run out completely. By now, in less than 6 months now, they have run out of the ideas.
Okay, you're saying that they have run out of ideas, but the Bangladeshi, or the people of Bangladesh, would they not see this Constitutional Reforms Commission and the ideas coming out of it as some kind of novel ideas which Muhammad Yunus is trying to bring in? Or do you think that there's going to be a huge division on this perception as well?
The people are busy with bread and butter. They want employment, they want safety, they want security, and every day you cannot say, anti-India or Hasina is there. So that chapter, you can only run up to a point of time, and after you have run the country for 4 months, you can no longer blame Hasina. So I think in a country like Bangladesh, this Constitutional Reforms Commission, I don't think it made any headway. It even didn't possibly make many editorials in Bangladesh itself. So the task of all these commissions is over. So what do you do with this commission? So now he has picked up another topic, which is to have some kind of a consensus on the July declaration, which BNP has rejected in any way. So whom are you going to have? Awami League you do not include. BNP is out of the picture because they are opposing it. So you are left only with the Jamaat-e-Islami, and you can reach anywhere with Jamaat-e-Islami in Bangladesh. People are religious. That doesn't mean that everybody supports, Jamaat-e-Islami.
Right, but the commission's chairperson, and there is a perception made out by the Yunus government that this commission has been able to identify the institutional uh, uh, a complete absence of an institutional power balance and the concentration of authority in the prime minister's office as key factors behind the autocratic authoritarianism which Bangladesh has experienced over the past 16 years. Sanjay, I'll come to you now on this. That do you think that this authoritarianism, which had crept in, could be done away with at all by talking about the institutional power balance as far as this particular commission is concerned, and they're talking about the concentration of authority in the prime minister's office?
I mean, there is no denying the fact that there has been a lot of authoritarianism which is visible all over South Asia. It was there in what is it called, Sri Lanka, when you had Mahinda Rajapakse becoming executive president, and he continued for a long time. Similarly, in India also there are authoritarian tendencies which people keep talking about. And then you have the prime case in Bangladesh, where you had Sheikh Hasina rule with a very iron fist all over for a long time. But I think that there is institutional failings, all right. But how do you prevent when people get a majority and they start changing the constitution to their own advantage? That is something which is not easy to handle. Fundamentally, there is a case for the prime minister's term being limited to two terms, like it's in the US or many other countries. I think India would also benefit. Sri Lanka has toyed with that, but I don't know whether it's really going to work. But similarly in Bangladesh, but I don't think the intentions of Muhammad Yunus is noble. He's just trying to buy time. He's trying to see to it that he carries on, and he trying to throw all kinds of balls in the air to show that he's really in the game. But trust me, he's trying to keep the BNP humored, which is not, they really want to come back at the earliest and start and take over for the power. Similarly, Jamaat, he's banking on Jamaat to a large extent, but that doesn't really work. But at the end of the day, whatever he stood for all these years is closer to Awami League than to the parties that he's wooing at the moment. So if the Awami League is given the permission to even contest whenever the election takes place, I can assure you they would not be look so much of a losing party as it is now today.
Towards the end, how do we understand this entire situation now being talked about, this Administrative Reforms Commission? What would you really say towards the conclusion?
No, I agree with Sanjay. How do you prevent, whatever reforms come or are introduced, if it's a human tendency? And Bangladesh had the system of caretaker government, which was not given in the beginning by Begum Jia. Then Hasina fought for it. Then, then once Hasina came to the same situation, she refused to give it. So that situation can always come back. We have best examples in China and Russia, where people have declared themselves as presidents for life, or Putin just keeps on changing the chair with Medvedev. So these things continue. So these reforms, in that sense, will not go anywhere. Whether the administrative reforms or constitutional reforms or electoral reforms, they have not introduced anything which is attractive enough. I think people wanted some kind of an election. He should have organized election, and let whichever party win the elections, then there is some stability. So at this point of time, I think, my fear is we are going to face bigger chaos in Bangladesh, because he doesn't want to give up power. And if he's forced to give up power following another violent or a prolonged struggle, then the possibility of organizing free and fair elections might not be even there. So that's what I think is a worrying factor. If he doesn't organize the election, and BNP says, organize the election by July or August, and if he doesn't hold elections, and he has nothing else to say, now the reforms have come up, we do not accept the reforms, then you cannot go anywhere. BNP is the largest party. Awami League is almost underground, despite not being banned. Now, if the BNP resorts to power, either you hand over the power to the BNP on your own, or hold elections, which the BNP will win in any case. And most of the students who are leading the current government, they have themselves opened foreign bank accounts, and they will be fleeing to foreign countries. It's not only
Yes.
Hasina, and only one. So the Bangladesh is going to face massive instability, and which is a risk for India, because having another failed state next to Myanmar, Bangladesh, it is not without serious consequences for the Northeast, because influx of, say for example, Bangladesh falls apart. The military cannot get the situation under control. Hindus are attacked, and if thousands of Hindus come, you already have Northeast, on the on always boiling on anti-foreigner issue. Then you will have a major problem. So that's why I think it's quite risky for India.
Right. So, for the concluding comments now, Sanjay, I'll come to you that since the situation is so chaotic and all this big talk about the Constitutional Reforms Commission, where is this all headed to, and how will it impact India, as what Suhas also just mentioned? Your concluding remarks on this. Yes.
I think it's really heading towards chaos, as Suhas is saying. Worse, because there is so much of dependence that Bangladesh had over India. There were students who were coming here to study, they're coming for treatment to India. There's so many linkages which have suddenly got snapped. Bangladeshis don't get visas, and that has begun to trouble them. In fact, when Vikram Misri had gone to, as a foreign secretary, had gone to Dhaka, there was this demand that the visa process should be initiated again. So, but in the absence of that, I think Bangladesh suffering will increase tremendously. And with the political process not providing jobs and not providing many other things that ordinary people want, they want voting, they want democracy, all right. But at the end of the day, they want food on the table. And if that is not happening, then they need to really worry about how it will all play out. The Bangladeshi rulers expect some kind of support from the US, but that was Biden's US. So I don't know whether Donald Trump is going to be so kind to Mr. Yunus. There's also a possibility that he might withdraw whatever support uh, people think that the US is providing them. It's also possible that the government may crumble. And if that happens, you take it from me, it's going to be so much of chaos, and they could have a pro-India party coming back there.
We'll have to wait and watch how things unfold. But at the moment, this entire talk about the Constitutional Reforms Commission and what it entails look like only a big talk, because it can't be implemented. And obviously, things don't look very good at the moment. Thank you so much, Suhas Chakma and Sanjay Kapoor, for joining. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal.